Hello there, my name's Gary Sims and this is Gary Explains. We've had loads of smartphone announcements over the last few months. We've heard from Google, we've heard from Apple, we've heard from Qualcomm, and now it's time to hear from MediaTek. Now the question is this, the Dimensity 9300, is it just going to be an upgrade to the Dimensity 9200? New core here, a new GPU there, or do they have something interesting in store? Well, if you want to find out more, please let me explain. Okay, so the MediaTek Dimensity 9300 or 9300, and boy is this a doozy. Let's jump in with some of the numbers here. 22.7 billion transistors built on 4nm plus, that's because it's the third generation of TSMC's 4nm process. But look over here, Cortex X4 cores, performance cores, there is efficiency cores that are A720. Hold on, I thought they were meant to be the middle cores. Where's the efficiency cores? Let's find out, because this is going to blow your mind. Look at this. It's got one Cortex X4, well, okay, you'd expect that, running at 3.25 gigahertz, nice. But then it's got three more Cortex X4s running at 2.85 gigahertz. So remember when Google did one with two X cores in it? Now we've got four X4 cores, and then you've got four big cores, of course it's A720, and that's it. There are no efficiency cores. So the efficiency cores are now actually the A720 cores clocked at 2 gigahertz. So it's got four Cortex X4 cores and four Cortex A720 cores. This is going to be amazing performance in terms of multi-core performance. Absolutely astounding. I just still can't get over it, even though I've known this for quite a while now. So 8 megabytes of L3 cache, 10 megabytes of system cache, LDDR5T memory, 9600 megabits per second, UFS 4.0. So that's, that is just, I'd love to see what the power efficiency is going to be of this. Is this just a joke? I mean, are they just like, how can you have that many, X4 cores? It will be really, 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 really interesting to see this in an actual device and see what we get. So here there is MediaTek having a look at this, and they're saying, look, in a traditional, and it isn't really traditional, because the 1 + 5 + 2 itself wasn't traditional. I mean, that was fairly, fairly different for its time. Normally we used to 1 + 3 + 4. But anyway, they're saying the traditional one is this one. We've got these two small cores. Now it's got 4 huge cores and 4 big cores. So it's all big core architecture, they're calling it. So that's pretty amazing. So obviously the multi-core score is going to be so much greater than this. And the single score should be relative, because you've still got the X4 core there. We'll see what the clock frequencies are and how that produces that final score. So let's have a look at that power and performance. What are they saying? So this is compared to the previous generations. That's the Dimensity 9200. So they've got the performance here, it goes up higher, but they're saying with the same power usage. So there you go, 15% more performance at the same power, 33% lower power for the same performance that you have there, and a 40% peak performance increase there. Of course, that's talking about the new X4. So they're not saying that this is going to kill your battery at all. They're saying this is actually more power efficient and more performance. So really interesting, as I said, to see this in actual devices. And they've got some scores here. Geekbench multi-score, as I said, 40% higher than the Dimensity 9200, and here they're showing it compared to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. They haven't given us a number, but it's 40%, 50% maybe. We'll see when the numbers come out. So absolutely amazing. And when we do get some numbers, you can pretty much guarantee I'll do you an Apple A17 Pro and a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and the Dimensity 9300 comparison video. Maybe we'll throw in a Google Tensor in there as well to see how that turns out. Other things worth mentioning, of course, is it's got the latest ARM Immortal G720 GPU, 46% better ray tracing, console level global illumination effects, 40% memory bandwidth saving for geometry heavy games. And I've got a video here on the channel about the Immortal G720, so a lot of this stuff is coming from there. What are they saying? 46% peak performance improvement compared to the Dimensity 9200 compared to with the Manhattan 3.1. So it's the 3D Mark Manhattan 3.1. Interesting they haven't chosen one of the more complicated ones. 40% less power compared to the Dimensity 9200. But all round, you're looking at a very powerful CPU and an upgraded GPU. A few other things, of course, worth mentioning. 5G, as you would expect, and Wi-Fi 7, as you would expect, Bluetooth. So the latest version of all of those, that's looking pretty good. Of course, we have to mention the NPU nowadays because, of course, so much stuff is based now and coming along with generative AI. They're pointing out that they've got int4 processing inside of their tensor unit, and then they've got a whole bunch of other stuff here that's basically improves the operation, improves the performance. 8 times generative AI transformer operation acceleration. And in fact, they're saying that if you want to run generative AI, it can do 20 tokens a second with a 7 billion LLM, so probably Llama or Llama 2. It will run up 13 billion ones if you've got 16 gigs of RAM inside of the smartphone. And it can, of course, do up to 33 billion if you had enough RAM to do that, and stable diffusion image generation in under a second. So again, this is good stuff. We're seeing it, of course, in other manufacturers, but this is what we want to see going forward. Worth just mentioning this here, I just throw this in quickly, memory tagging extension, because we're now on ARM v9, because Android is now supporting ARM v9, we do get this extra benefits of some of this security stuff, including memory tagging. Just a quick refresher, memory tagging makes sure that some piece of malware hasn't got in there, is trying to access memory it can't access, because each block of memory is tagged with an ID, and the chances of it hitting the same ID tag in the same area of memory is quite low, and therefore the operating system will come up very quickly and say, well, actually, you're not allowed to access that, and then stop that malicious activity from happening. And here's the roundup. So you've got those big cores, 4 and 4, high-speed memory, latest GPU, great improvements in generative AI. It can run all those different models. The TSMC's 3rd generation of 4 nanometer, and the security, like I talked about, memory tagging, Wi-Fi 7, 5G, and so on. So there you go, the MediaTek 9300. Okay, so there you have it, 4 Cortex X4 cores, those A720 cores, no power efficiency cores. It's either going to be brilliant or that's a disaster. I really can't make my mind up which is going to be. I'm hoping on the side of brilliant. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.